You are watching the BlahCade Pinball Podcast. I am your host, Shut Your Trap. Joining me as always. Hey, you know what? I'm totally messing this up. I don't know what's my problem.
Watching.
Watching. I said watching instead of because I've got YouTube up in front of me. Let's start this again. Fun. You are listening to the BlahCade Pinball Podcast. I am your host, Chris Freebus, aka Shut Your Trap. Joining me as always, halfway across the world, Jared Morgan.
Hello there. That's staying in, by the way.
Oh, I'm sure it is. I had no doubt that it wouldn't. You know, I haven't had a good blooper like that in a long while.
No, it's pretty much introduction by numbers.
Yeah, so it's good. You know, it's good to feel that you know, this isn't just a pre-recorded bit. It actually happens.
That's right. It's
yes,
real.
yes. Somebody just posted
live in front of a studio audience.
As somebody just posted in the chat, a special rewind feature like in FX3. Exactly. Just push that wizard button.
Exactly.
Now, if only we could get the bonus scores and you know, crank up the viewership numbers. So Jared and I were just before the show starts, he comes in, we kind of check our levels and kind of do a little bit of banter just so we can get everything up and running for the actual show. And he was starting to talk about some stuff that he had been watching. Those of you on Twitter will know what he was watching, but he was talking about a movie before that, which was the movie Orgasmo.
Yeah.
And if you don't know about this movie, it is Matt Stone, Trey Parker, the guys behind South Park. This was their second movie that they ever made, I believe. First one being Cannibal the Musical. I just got from the other room, was asked, what about Basketball? Basketball they starred in, but it was not their movie. They didn't write it. They didn't direct it.
True. It was a great movie, though.
Really? Oh, man, I found it terrible. But it's been a long time since I've seen it. So
I just like the fact that Real Big Fish are in it. That's where I found out about Real Big Fish, the band. They're great. Yeah.
Anyway, Orgasmo is... It's basically about a Mormon, which is one of Matt and Trey's favorite subjects.
Yes.
A Mormon guy that goes, you know, ringing the doorbells, and on one of the doorbells that he rings, it happens to be, you know, obviously he's in Chatsworth, California or something like that. And it's a
porn set.
Yeah, that's where they're filming a porno. And next thing you know, he's brought into the world of it, and he's trying to justify his existence in this because, you know, he needs the money because he's about to get married and all this stuff. But it obviously goes against everything that he's ever thought about. But it is one of these movies that is so entirely filthy and just entirely spot on what they're making fun of.
Oh yeah. It is so on point.
Oh, it's just fabulous. About it. What I was going to then tell Jared, and I was like, I need to share this with everybody. So, as you guys might know, I am a camera assistant in motion pictures.
Yeah.
I used to work at a camera rental house. The rental house is Panavision. And while there, one of our marketing reps used to get all sorts of submission videos, or just like, not necessarily submission videos, but projects that the DP had been working on and stuff like that. And he became known for collecting these just brilliant bits of little, just bizarre comedy. It's the first place I ever saw William Shatner doing his live reading of Rocket Man at some awards show. And I'm not kidding you, it's spectacularly awful.
Yeah, it is.
But it is hilarious to watch. So those are the kinds of things that he used to collect. Well, at one point, he got sent the infamous South Park Christmas card, which is the 5-minute video called The Spirit of Christmas.
Yes.
That started their whole trajectory. And it's because, I mean, talk about just like 6 degrees of separation kind of thing. One of the gals that worked at Panavision, her brother was the Steadicam operator on the show ER. George Clooney was one of the people that received this Christmas card. And so he shared it and it got shared. So it was one of these things where by the time we got it, it had been copied, you know, like 6 or 7 times on VHS. Yeah. You know, believe me, when I finally got to see this thing without all the warble and video degradation, I was like, oh, that's what it actually looked like. How about that? But anyway, that put those guys on his radar. He had reached out. So he got a copy of the South Park pilot before it ever aired.
Oh,
and I'll tell
right.
you right now, the pilot for South Park, the last third is completely different than what actually aired.
Oh, right.
So we knew about these guys long before
They actually got a network.
before they were on network, right? Well, he knew that I was a big fan, and at some point he comes to me and he goes, "Hey, there's a they're doing a shoot for the actual TV show South Park, and they got no money." And the program that I was in, basically, after 2 years, they kicked you out and you became a camera assistant. You were on your own,
right.
you might say.
Yeah.
So I was getting near the end of that run, and I needed experience. And
so
hey,
you went on work experience, basically.
Yeah, I needed work experience. And so he was like, "Do you have any interest in helping out on this?" I was like, "Yes, absolutely. Yes. Let's do this." So I don't think it was my absolute first job ever as a camera assistant, but it quite possibly was my second. And the only thing I asked for payment was a signed t-shirt, which, yes, I do still have. Mm-hmm. But what we wound up filming was the Mr. Hanky commercial.
Yes. Right. I love those. Those live action bits in the early series.
Oh my gosh. And those guys, I'm outside this house that we're filming in or whatever, and I was loading film at that time. And at one point, this is my favorite memory. At one point, they came outside, the two of them, Matt and Trey, and they were having this discussion. And they were, believe me, Terrence and Phillip are these two. I'm not kidding you. These two cackled like mad dogs and would rip, farts if they could. I mean, it was, it was just what they're doing. But they were talking about the infamous episode, which was Who's Cartman's Father. And they did this. It was a multi-part episode, but the cliffhanger was like, they left it as a cliffhanger, and then there was going to be a gap between episodes.
Yes.
A long gap. And then they came back on April Fool's Day. Brilliant. And the whole thing was nothing but a Terrence and Phillip episode. It had nothing to do with who Cartman's father
I remember
was.
that.
And
it was such a bait and switch. It was great.
And people got irate.
Yeah.
And demanded that the episode be concluded. And sure enough, they wound up doing an episode that concluded it. But I remember them talking about this and laughing at how much they were going to troll people by not revealing, just leaving it as a cliffhanger and stuff. So it was one of those things that when the stuff finally came on to air and I saw it, I knew exactly what was going to be happening in terms of, oh, they're not going to answer this. And then much to my surprise, a couple of episodes later, they actually did answer it. And then I read about how there was all this demand that they do it. And if everybody knows their schedule, they were cranking these episodes out.
It's weekly.
That was when they were doing it. That's how they do it now on computer. Back then, they were still doing cardboard.
Oh, stop frame and frame by frame.
Yeah,
wow.
They were still doing that. So it did take a little while to, it might have been all put in the computer, but it was a much longer process. But when I say much longer, it's not the 6-day episode. It was probably maybe 3 weeks per episode. I mean, it was it was still quick turnaround. So they were able to quickly turn around and crank out this episode and satisfy the people. But anyway, it's just one of those things that I have an absolute affinity for those guys. One of the camera assistants that I work with and who wound up writing a script, helped me write the script that I'd done 2 years back or so. He went to school with those guys in Colorado and is actually in Cannibal the Musical.
Right.
So,
jeez.
It's
what a trip.
That's
insane. Yeah, Orgasmo was a fun movie, and like I could just imagine what those two would be like on set. It's funny that they're embodiments of Terrence and Phillip.
And I gotta say, folks, this was what they were like back in 1998. I don't know what they're like today.
No, it's true.
Lots of life has happened in the in between, so who knows what they're what they're.
They may have mellowed out somewhat.
But I would still, if they actually ever did another film project, I would. That's one of those that it would just be like, I would love to be on set for that.
Isn't the Book of Mormon is one of their productions, isn't it?
They wrote it. And,
we're going to see that
Broadway
next week.
Oh, are you? I haven't seen it, and I've been dying. It would be great if it could.
So good. People would just say it's just the best. thing they've seen for such a long time.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm very much looking forward to it. It's the day after I'm going to a wedding down the Gold Coast, so
Okay.
I'll be going down the Gold Coast for this wedding, and then going back on train probably, and then in the morning or wherever it is, in the matinee I think it is, we'll go and see this thing in around lunchtime. So it'll be great.
This sounds like a weekend that we won't be recording a podcast.
Potentially, yeah. Oh, well, I don't know. I don't know how early it is in the morning. I have to check the calendar. But yeah, put it as tentative for now.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's see. What should we dive into here? Why don't we go ahead and dive right into? Jared has been posting pictures, numerous pictures. He's back working on his Star Race. And it looks like he's getting himself into trouble. So why don't you tell me what the heck is going on with your machine?
So for a while ago, I had some troubles with the lights just randomly sort of flickering or dropping out, like the whole general illumination and controlled lamps were just dropping out.
Okay.
I thought, oh, you know, whatever, it's okay. And what happened was, you would actually, with the glass off, you would actually strike the play field and the problem would go away. So it was like vibration related, and that's usually a problem with sockets, like light sockets that go like all the barrel light sockets, they tend to get loose and they flop around. When they flop around, you can actually sort of get like partial shorts. So I thought, well, I'll go through and do some work on the really bad light sockets and sort of do some reparation on them, just to make them a little bit more secure. And in the last order, I got a whole lot of light sockets from the Pinball resource. So I've been systematically going through the table and putting new ones in, and replacing all those terrible bracketed light bulbs that these early System 18s had. They're basically on this big common metal strip with the barrels attached to the strip. And once one barrel gets rattly, you got to throw away the whole strip because you can't just replace the barrels.
It's like those Christmas light strings.
Oh, it totally is. Yeah. Except, so you got no choice. You have to actually go and replace all the lights on that strip. So I got enough of the under playfield lamp sockets to do all of those, and that was my first task, and that went pretty well. They look a lot better now, and the brackets themselves actually position the light bulb closer to the insert, which for LEDs is fine, of course, because they don't generate the heat, but incandescents might have been a problem. But who uses those these days, really? So
me. Oh,
doing it wrong.
No, I'm not doing it wrong, because with Bally, if you want to use LEDs, you have to buy a new board that can run
OCD. Oh, really? They have a switch matrix on those early games?
No, apparently.
Not a lamp matrix.
Yeah, apparently with the early 80s Bally tables, you actually have to buy an additional board that can handle it.
The OCD board.
Yeah, something like that. I can't remember. Anyway,
yeah,
it's like when I found out what it was, I just went, I'm not going to.
Nope. Just roll with the old bulbs.
Yeah.
So what I did find is, as an aside, before I continue the story, the little general illumination sockets, which are sort of the ones that are designed to make the bulbs sit flush in the playfield, I didn't get the ones that apparently there are two shortness lengths on these ones, or the brackets have a higher position for the barrel on the other ones, and I got the wrong ones. So the bulbs are sticking up a little higher than the other bulbs on the playfield. But I don't really think it's going to be too much of a problem. The bulbs are all behind rails and rubbers, so it's not like they're glass, so they're not going to shatter if a ball hits them. They're just going to get knocked around a bit, and that's fine. I got heaps of them. So yeah, that was fine, because I think the main culprit with all the rattling around were these general illumination sockets that were near all the pop bumper rubberized areas.
Yeah, there's nothing that vibrates near pop bumper.
No, and I'll tell you what, if you ever played like one of these System 80 Gottliebs, the pop bumpers are strong as anything, and they just shake the whole table. They are very, very strong. So yeah, there was a lot of rattling going on around there. So I did all those, and sort of midway between doing the insert lights with replacing all the light bulbs with the new sockets, I did a play test of the game. You know, it's always good to check your work
Yes.
Regularly when you're doing this sort of thing to try and identify problems. So particularly with the amount of solder that you're throwing around when you're doing rewiring, it can get a bit messy in there. So you do get some random problems sometimes that are easy to fix if you do it shortly after finding out where you were soldering. So I flicked on the game, started playing it, and about midway through a game, all the controlled lamps just started going crazy. Like they were just like flicking like all over the place, and they weren't locking on, but they were like, it was like they were getting half voltage. And they were just really erratically blinking, not like they normally do with the clock circuit on a System 80. I was going, that's definitely not right. So I didn't know what was causing it. So of course, naturally, you turn it off, and then you start to do some investigation. So I thought, oh, normally it's just a connector issue because System 80 machines are notorious for the bad edge connectors on them. So I thought, oh, well, I'll go in and have a look at those edge connectors and just reseat them and, do all the usual stuff you do when you're doing initial fault finding. And did all that, and I was still having the flickering issues. So I then took a look at the power supply in the head box, and one of the two LEDs that show you that the board's healthy wasn't lit. And I was going, oh no, okay, great. So I then got onto Pinside and did some Googling about how you actually test. I've never actually done live voltage testing on something like a power supply before. So it was brand new territory for me. I was going, oh, I hope I don't blow anything up by putting the probes on anything. But the engineers at Godley were smart. They actually have these things called TPs on the board, which are test points. So they're just these lugs that you can put the probes onto safely and take readings for the key parts of the circuit. And I'm such an idiot. I was doing testing on the low voltage side of the power supply, so the 5 volt and 8 volt circuit, and I had the multimeter set on 20 for voltage, and then I put the probes on the plus 42 and plus 60 circuits. I was getting 0 on the multimeter. I was going, I'm getting no power to those circuits, but the displays and all that sort of stuff, which is what that part of the power circuit are controlling, they're all lit and working and operating fine. What's going on? It's like, what is happening? Is the blown LED a cause of the fault, or what's going on? You know what happens when you start to look at things wrong with a pinball machine? You just don't know where to start.
Yeah.
So I realized, hang on a second, there's other settings on this multimeter that I should try. Like there's a 200. What does that do? So I turned it on to 200, and lo and behold, I was getting a reading. So turns out I learned that the little different settings on each of the different things, like for ohms, volts, and amps, they are the upper limits of what that particular reading set can do. So if it's on 20, it will measure up to 20 volts, but no higher. If it is 200, it'll measure up to 200 volts, but no higher. So I learned something about multimeters.
I need to learn so much about multimeters because basically whenever I use one, I don't have any clue what I'm doing, and then somebody tells me, "Oh, flick it over to this and check for this," and I go, "Oh, okay, yes," for the task that I'm doing.
Yeah,
and I'm like, "Yeah, that's great." And then if you asked me to do it again 2 weeks later, I would be right back at square one. What is this thing that I got in my hand? So yeah,
I'm very much the same, but I've got a lot better using it over the last couple of days. Let me tell you. So anyhow, continuing the saga, I got the readings. I was talking with the guy who actually did all the board work for me. He's a really, really great guy. He didn't have to help me at all, and he did over email.
It's nice when they do that, right?
Yeah, he's a really, really great guy. It's John from JWG Enterprises, and he was guiding me through a few things to check, and he was going, all right, so I was saying, oh, I've checked all the bridge rectifiers to make sure that they're not open. He goes, I don't know what you're doing with those readings. So just go straight up to the power supply and put the probes on all the test points and tell me the voltages. And that's when I said, oh, look, I can't get reading out of the other two. Because that's weird because your displays are working. Those things, if your displays are working, you're getting the correct voltage, so that should be fine. And then he was saying, oh, so try and test the input voltages going into the board. There's this edge connector that goes straight from the transformer panel on the bottom right up to the power supply. And he goes, put your probes, like the black one on the earth line, and then the red one, touch each one of the terminals like inside the plug, and just stick your probe in there and get a reading from each one of those terminals, and tell me what the voltages are. And they were all in tolerance. They were coming up with the right amount of volts coming in, plus or minus. Nothing too outrageous at all. So like the logic voltage was fine at about 5.03 volts. Anything lower than that, you start to get weird behavior, because obviously that's what he was thinking. It was like a line issue. But then he said, oh, okay. Have a look at the earth lines on all of, you know how it's got the common earth braid that runs around the whole playfield, basically. Well, have a look. He said, put the multimeter on that and do it from the common ground on the big transformer panel on the bottom. Stick your black probe onto that. Then put your red probe on all of the earth straps and see what voltage you're getting. And this is where it started to get interesting. On one, see, there's multiple loops in this game because of the playfield width. So it's not one common loop that goes around. There's actually two separate earth circuits, all like wired back to the same common.
Okay.
And one of them was measuring 2 volts and one was measuring 6. Of course, lamps operate on 6 volts DC. So the one that was operating on 2 volts was obviously wrong. And what's probably going on is there's a bit of a crook connector in the back box. And it's not letting, it's probably a little bit tarnished or got a little damage to it, or maybe even the pad on the board where it connects into is a bit dodgy. I was going, okay, well, there's 2 different volts. He goes, well, I would make sure that you have correct voltage over those 2 earth straps, and that should probably help with the weird flickering problems. So I found a point at which both of the earth lines ran parallel to each other, like the good one and the bad one, and I just bridged them with a wire. So I just tacked a wire onto each side and then measured around, and I'm getting a good 6 volts along all circuits now, because earth is earth. You don't have to worry about doing anything weird with that. It's just different parts of ground. So that's fine. So did that, and it's going okay. So it wasn't the power supply. It wasn't the bridge rectifiers. It wasn't fuses. Like he actually was going, oh, just check the fuses, because sometimes you can have a fuse that measures good, but it's actually starting to fatigue. And when you get fatigue fuses, you get voltage problems, which is like, okay, sure. But no, they were all fine as well. But no, it was the earth strap. Well, seemingly the earth strap from one side of the playfield to the other was dodgy. So that was like 3 days worth of diagnosis to try and work that out. But
yay,
we are back to an operational machine. It's funny though, when it boots up, it still does a little bit of flickering and a little bit of weird lights, but then after 10 seconds, it must warm up enough and it just locks back into normal operation. So I was also, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say that's kind of like electrical things don't just solve themselves. They don't fix themselves.
No.
But it's weird how they can be inconsistent, because you messing around with your table, I was just like, you know what? I haven't played my table in a while because I stopped playing it because of 2 things. One, I had a broken drop target and I didn't want to break anymore. And then 2, I was having this weird thing with this is A-Ball Deluxe I'm talking about, where all the drop targets would get dropped and I would hit including the A-ball target, and then as soon as I hit one of the stand-up targets behind the drop targets, all of a sudden it would just do a repetitive score, like no ball contact, or and I was like, what the heck is going on? And that started freaking me out, and so I just shut the machine off. But when it's cooler weather, I don't have this issue. And so sure enough, I went out there and I played for a good long time thinking, well, maybe the machine needs to warm up. I didn't have an issue. So I don't have a clue what is going on that is causing this, but it does make me wonder if it's drop target related, because at one point it wasn't the main bank of 7 drop targets that started the auto triggering. It was as soon as I knocked the 8-ball target down. So I'm wondering if it has something to do with the drop targets, which again, once I replace them all, I'm going to be pulling the whole rigs out to replace them, and then I can give a proper look. But It is one of the things though. Like when all of a sudden it's working good enough, you're kind of like, good enough. Let's go.
It might be that is the target that you hit after shooting the 8-ball drop target a target that only really matters after
Well,
you've
there's
hit the
not
target?
there behind the 8-ball because it's in the lane. Behind that
Yeah.
is a saucer. This was happening when it started doing it on that. It was the second I knocked down the 8-ball that it was happening. Where it seems to be of that bank of stand-up targets that are behind all the 7 drop targets, it was the number 1 or the D target that seemed to be the one that was triggering. Like if that, as soon as that one got fired, it would just continually score. But I didn't. Again, this is where I need to learn how to use a multimeter because I can't check a connection, so I don't know what I'm looking for.
Well, I think I found that you just put it onto the V setting, the volt setting, because that's what you're measuring through all the different circuits. You just want to check volts, and you just need to identify like a good place to put your black probe underneath the playfield. Usually on the main. I don't know if the Bally Williams tables have a big transformer board in the bottom. I think they normally do. But yeah, just find a good place with a lot of green wires going into it and tack it onto there, and then just start probing around. The thing I've found is that as long as you're only touching one thing at a time, there's no chance of damaging anything by doing multimeter tests, which is what I was scared of.
Yeah.
But you're not. All you're doing is the circuit's being completed inside the multimeter, so you're not at risk of damaging anything really.
Yeah.
But I had to do the other thing I had to do is like the one thing I didn't order when I went to PBR because I just didn't think I needed it were the another variety of not insert lights, GI lights that have 2 lugs at the top, and they allow you to like daisy chain the line and the earth wires along the top of the run. And one of these ones was just totally shot. Like the barrel was spinning, all the little lugs at the top were spinning around freely. Like there was just zero connectivity, yet it was still shining. But I figured if it's rattling around a lot, there's a possibility that could be a root cause of all these light issues I'm having as well. Because vibration's a really bad thing in the light sockets. So if you have vibration, you really can do some crazy stuff with light. So I thought, no, I want to just systematically go through and eliminate. So for this one, because I didn't have a replacement, I had to take it out of the machine and just run a wire from the top lugs down to the barrel, and then put a tack of solder on the top tab between the little rivet where the little plungery bit goes in and out of the light socket where you stick your bulb in. And it looked like a Frankenstein job. There's photos up on Instagram if you want to have a look.
Yeah, they're not pretty.
They're really, really ugly. But look, it does the job, and it's a solid connection. Now I did multimeter testing to make sure I hadn't made it open or anything like that, and it's good. But yeah, it's just Frankenstein compared to the other beautiful, clean, shiny sockets that I've got in the game. It looks gross. So
good enough until you do the next order.
Yeah, but that's right. Yeah. I just want the real goal that I'm doing here is I want to get this thing right for August, because I've got the coin mech for it the other day, and I had to actually adjust that as well because it's a manual one. I had to do some bending of the weighing arm, the arm with a little weight attached to it, because this was a secondhand mech, and I had to like bend all of the little sort of lugs back up again, so it was really quite a tight fit because there was coins getting stuck in it. I was going, it's just what I need. This is like the crucial thing. Like if your coin mech's not working, you're not going to make any money.
Nope.
So I need to make sure this thing's working real well. So yeah, I got that tuned up real nice now. It's accepting coins every time, which is really good. So I just got to make sure this thing holds up electrically for 10 days of potentially constant play at the exhibition. Like a captive audience of usually around 50,000 people that go through the event every year. So it's going to be an interesting test for it. So I need to do more burn-in testing of it. You go. In other words, play it a lot.
That's right. That's right. Oh darn!
Oh, what a shame!
What a shame. All right, let's switch it up a little bit. Every week I've been talking about the data I've been collecting on the Zen's William Pinball app, and I'm coming to the conclusion that what I need to do is write a guide, essentially for new users, if you will.
How to spend the Smurf berries. Call it that.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to call it how to spend Smurf berries. Because, look, what I've discovered with all these discussions is, yeah, there's a lot of people that they absolutely positively, all they want to do is just pay their money. That's all they want to do. But if you're brand new to the game and you don't really, I mean, look, when you get a new game on mobile, you got to play it a little bit in order to even see if it's worth it, being on there, or do you just want to delete it, right?
Exactly.
But unfortunately, if you're being thrown a limited time offer, and it's not exactly a cheap offer.
No, it's not like dollars. It's like tens of dollars to buy.
I mean, basically, what somebody posted today was they're offering you all 10 tables right now.
Oh, wow.
For a 3-day limited time offer for $30. So it's $10 a pack, which is what you would pay on Steam. But for mobile gaming, that's pricey.
Well, you look at how much a season cost on Pinball Arcade.
I'm not looking at Pinball Arcade. I'm talking about purely. Season on mobile. Yes, yes. But I mean, I'm talking about for the casual mobile gamer.
Yeah, it's like, whoa, you want me to throw
a chunk of change.
$30 to you? Like, what's going on there?
Right. But the problem is if you don't take up the offer and then you start playing the game, well, bad news, folks. Not only are you never going to be able to collect all the parts, coins, and tickets in order to fully upgrade all the tables and play them at the, using the pro physics and pro difficulty. But now if you want to buy the tables or anything, it's going to cost you twice the price of what it would have cost you.
Unless you contact support and say, hey, look, I didn't see the offer come up when I got the
I mean, there's ways around it, but it's not easy. And as of yet, Zen has not repeated the offer. Like a lot of mobile games that I play, maybe once a month they'll be like, hey, special deal. And it'll be one of these, hey, all the in-game currency is half off.
Yeah, exactly.
So Zen hasn't done that yet. Who knows if they're going to? It would be highly advisable for them to do that.
I don't know why they just don't have it as a permanent offer. Just always tantalizing you at the top of the game. Like, why is time critical a thing? Like, because, like you say, like, how do you know?
Because if it's always there, then why are you charging so much for all your other in-game currency? Look, I'm not going to fault them for doing mobile pricing. I'm not. And I know that's a big point of contention on the forums, and I know that you fall in this camp somewhat. Look, if I want to buy the tables, why not charge me exactly what I'm being charged on PC and stuff? But the PC is not offering you a way of earning all the tables free. That's just not, or the consoles. They're not doing it either. They're doing this is freemium pricing. But unfortunately, there's a cost to freemium pricing. And if Zen is not going to institute a regular kind of appearance of price drops or sales, then that's when they're going to need to fix some other things with how you're earning. Because currently, with all the stats that I'm collecting, these 3 tables that I was starting off from scratch with for Williams Volume 3, I've already maxed out all the coins. I've paid for the upgrade on one of the tables. I'm just waiting on coins to upgrade the other 2. I will have them upgraded before the next table pack drops, so that's not an issue. So once you're caught up, the next time a table pack drops, it is absolutely 100% possible to do. Here's the question. I don't know what would happen if you had 6 tables. I don't know how at some point it's going to become impossible.
Well, that's me, because I haven't got all my tables maxed out like the previous ones, Volume 1, Volume 2.
Right.
So I'm in the position where I'm getting random table parts for tables that aren't Savecracker, Theatre of Magic, and what the other one? Champion Pub. Yeah. So I'm not getting the drops I need to actually level those up. So yeah, I'm in that position. And to be honest, I've stopped playing the game.
Right.
I'm over the grind. I might fire it up once or twice, but I'm not doggedly going in there every day and doing the challenges. It's just too much hassle.
And as we've discussed before, grind is fine when you can see the light at the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
But if you're grinding and feeling like you're not getting anywhere, if anything, you're sliding backwards, then that kills the fun entirely of it.
Yeah, it sure does. That's
you know,
that's kind of where I'm at the moment. Like I'm looking like if I'm telling myself now that if I want to play pinball, I'm just going to fire up Steam and just enjoy my time playing it rather than going, oh, I need to get this table part, that table part, etc. Like I like the challenges and stuff, but
because like for me, honestly, and I've said this in the forums, I don't play the Williams app to play regular pinball. I play it solely to play the challenges.
Yeah.
So truthfully, once I've fully collected the challenges, now I'm not going to do it this time because now that I know what I need to collect for the next time that the table pack drops, I want to be prepared for it and hopefully speed things up even faster. Yeah. But otherwise, it would be, well, there's no point in playing the challenges, and I'm not really interested in playing it on mobile, just a regular game of pinball. So then I don't play the app. So, I mean, but then I was talking to some people, and they're like, hey, I only have a mobile device. That's the only way I can play. So I get where
with me as well. Like I would be in the same boat. Like I said, if I didn't have Steam and the selection of pinball I have on Steam now, I would be probably just buying everything outright on mobile and sucking it up because I know that's the only option I have to actually play, or going and buying a dedicated game console like Switch and doing that.
Yeah. So what I'm discovering, like I said, I just this happened 2 days ago. On day 16 of my collecting, I finally have all 100 parts for all 3 tables. Like I said, I already maxed out and upgraded Theater of Magic. I was just waiting on parts for Champion Pub and Safecracker. I now have those, but of course, I'm still flipping cards and I'm still getting those table parts. Right. What I don't understand, what Zen really needs to do first and foremost is, look, in total, it's, 170 parts that you need, between all the various star levels. The game should recognize that you've collected 170 parts.
And just stop dropping it.
And just stop. And instead, when you hit that point, start giving you extra coins.
Yeah, but the thing is, the coins are the unobtainium in the game. Like coins, and Mel said this, coins are the hard currency.
They are the hard currency, but they don't need to be impossible currency.
Yeah, well, they do if they want to make money. That's a problem.
No, they'll still make money, I think. It's because I doubt people are going to be doing what I'm doing, which is I'm playing all 4 challenges, and for the most part, I'm getting to 15 stars on all 4 challenges. The only one that I'm not getting 15 stars on regularly is the premium challenge because
it's rock hard.
Safecracker 5-minute challenge on premium is nigh impossible. Right. let me tell you this: the score total just to get 10 stars was 1.26 million.
Oh, jeez.
You have to play absolutely bang on perfect. You have to get the vault. I mean, you have to get the token. Not just once, because you need to get the token so then you can get the multi-ball, so then you can hit the jackpots. But then you're going to need to get another vault token. There's not enough time because the stupid countdown timer keeps on going while you're playing the board game.
Yeah, I know. It's so stupid. You can't, like, usually if it's in an out hole, not an out hole, like a trapped portion of the game, the timer should stop. If the timer would stop in the board game, it would make sense.
Well, and it's funny because it's not consistent on certain, like if you're playing Fishtails and you get into the video challenge of the, shooting the water skiers, the timer stops.
Yeah,
but if you're
like
playing,
they haven't done it properly in
if you're playing Black Rose and you're doing the knife throw or the swinging from the rig, timer still goes. It's like, how is that any different? You know,
it's essentially the board game is the video mode.
It's the video mode.
Yeah. So they should look at that. They should look at pausing the timer only when the ball is on the play field.
When the ball is in play.
Yeah, when the ball's in play, that's when the timer goes.
Yeah, the 5-star on Safecracker for the premium 5-minute was 850,000, and even that was a stretch.
850 is hard.
Believe me, I was sweat. It took me multiple attempts just to get that, and that 1.26 million.
Oof.
It was one of those things where I was having just like a phenomenal perfect game, and I beat it, and I'm not kidding you, I beat it by 6 seconds.
Oh, jeez. You would have just put their phone down and just breathed a sigh of relief after cracking that one.
I played 2 more times after that just to see how impossible the 5-minute 15-star goal was. And then I went, this is a waste of tickets. I'm not even going to try.
And that's a problem, right? Because that premium one, you're burning tickets, which is you're
25 tickets pop.
You're burning your upgrade path for all the new tables that are coming out.
25 tickets pop, and at basically what you're getting at 5-star level, or 5-star goal, you're getting next to nothing as a reward. It's ball trails.
You're better off just doing basic, like resetting the basic challenge.
No, at 10 stars, you get 5 table parts. That's pretty good. If you're on a table part hunt, 5 table parts. That's the second largest drop in the entire thing. Largest drop is Pro 15-star at 6 table parts.
Right.
And by the way, the table parts, they're consistent. I've mapped that.
Oh, right.
Absolutely 100% consistent.
I'll go over those in a second.
The 15-star reward for premium, basically what you're going to be getting is in the neighborhood of 150, maybe slightly more tickets. That's it. Right. It's otherwise ball trails and flippers. So the 15-star is hardly worth playing.
No.
Why there's not more? That's where they should put the coin drops, to be honest. Yeah. They should put a healthy and good coin drop in the premium.
Like a 20 coin drop or a 10 coin drop or something.
Just a 10 coin drop would be enough for me to blow through my tickets. I'd blow through tickets for a 10 coin drop. But that's because right now I'm averaging, and I've said this before, I'm averaging 7 coins a day. So every 14 days I'm getting my 100 coins. But it needs to, that is enough to where I'm going to max out my tables and have basically enough time to earn another 100 coins before the next table pack.
Yeah, right.
So I will be just getting my head above water, but it's never a case where I can get way in advance of it.
No. And you don't have a huge bank of coins. You don't have a huge bank of tickets.
No. No. So that's where anybody coming brand new to the app right now is not going to be able to do what I'm doing. They have to spend money if they're going to want to be able to play anything on a fully maxed table.
Yeah.
Without spending months.
So there's where it counts in months. Yeah, it really is months to get to the
absolutely.
point.
It's going to be that at that point you're going to be, because the pool, you're going to be dealing with 13 tables that you're going to be collecting parts for.
Yeah.
That's at most in a given day, you can earn 36 table parts.
Do you think that if a new player only made a decision that, yes, all they want to do is grind and play, do you think it would be worth their while spending the coin value to unlock the premium challenge so they have an extra shot at more things?
No.
Or whatever. No?
I honestly don't. Again, all you'd be sacrificing really is 5 table parts a day. So now you'd be collecting 31 table parts a day. To drop 200 coins to be able to play premium. And premium, again, like I said, it kicks my butt regularly. It's not worth it for the collecting purposes.
Right. So really it's a nice to have, but not this is like a key factor to actually getting forward in the game and getting the unlocks. Right.
No.
So
and it's one of those things that I would like to present to Zen and say, hey guys, I don't know what kind of data you're collecting. I mean, obviously you're collecting across a large field of all the users, but let me break it down for you on a personal user's level and show you how this isn't working.
Yeah, I think Mel would be very interested in your experience.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it might be time to send an email.
So I just want to kind of run through just to let you guys know, I mean, how consistent this is just in table parts alone. Basic 5-star, 1 table part, 10-star, 2 table parts, 15-star, 3 table parts, advanced 5-star, 2 table parts, 10-star, 3 table parts, 15-star, 5 table parts. So advanced 15, that's a heck of a, I mean, you want to go for that one because you're going to get a lot. Pro 5-star, 3 table parts, 10-star, 4 table parts, and then the biggie 15-star, 6 table parts.
And the beauty about advanced is that you don't even have to pay any money to like do it. It's just a video watch and off you go.
Yeah. So somebody then broke down what the video watches are. And here again, you want to know how Zen's making their money? They were saying that what they read, and this isn't necessarily what Zen's deal is, but for every 1,000 video views, Zen would get $3.
Right.
Okay. On any given day, because I have to go through the 3 challenges in advanced, plus I'm always flipping the video card for all the other things. So on any given day, I'm watching 12 videos.
Right. Minimum.
And believe me, in advanced 15-star, I'm watching way more than that. So Zen is still earning their money.
So that video is actually a pretty important revenue stream for them as far as making money back on this package.
Yes.
Yeah, interesting. And the way they've done it, it's not like just a random pop-up video every now and again. It's like you choose to do it too. Like it's oh yes, I am going to watch this video of my own accord. It's not just a random ad that pops up and frustrates you. It's like I'm making the decision to watch this video.
Yes.
So it's even better because they're getting more qualified video impressions from that rather than like someone going, oh, look, it's a video coming up. I'll just defocus the app and refocus the app and it'll go away sort of thing.
Right.
Yeah. So they'll be getting quality imprints on that too. So
I've taken to having something else, like I'll have my computer screen open or I'll have something, watching TV or whatever. I'll have something else going on that I can quickly go to and read while the video pops up. So I'm less annoyed by the videos, although I really love the way the guy says, look, how many different slot machine games can there possibly be an app for?
Oh, and I think I know the one already. It's Slots Era.
Well, no. You put too much on the. That's what it is. But it's you put too much on the R. It's all on the A, so it's Slots Era.
Yeah. I actually, strangely enough, I always listen to that ad because it's you won. It's just like the dude is just.
My other favorite one is it's obviously some Slavic video game or video poker game, and it's
still Slots Era. I'll tell you,
it's a mature. Oh, it's got to be the same company, but
it's actually Slots Era. It's the same game, but they've done a different ad to target a different demographic.
Well, but this one is for 18 plus. It clearly says it's 18 plus. But the thing is, the female voice goes, "Adult game for adult emotions." I'm like, what is that?
Exactly.
What is it? I don't get what you're saying. It is one of those things where it's just like it's such a fabulous broken English that
it is wonderful.
And then I started getting these ads for like Japanese games.
Yeah.
So there's one that is for what is it called, like My Emperor or something like that, and it's basically how big of a hoe bag emperor can you be and collecting your harem. because they'll be like, do you want to be a noble emperor or a romantic emperor? And the finger always selects romantic, and immediately there's just this harem of girls around the guy, and and like hearts go in his eyes, and he's just like wholehearted. It's terrible. And then there was one where it was the typical cutesy Japanese sprites kind of look. And so then the person they show the finger scroll up to like do a macro view of it, right? Like for their stats, and all of a sudden it goes into fully drawn anime style character, but the camera goes like bam right on the crotch and then bam right on the chest. Where's the tentacles? I mean, come on, this is just terrible.
Oh, that's later. That's an unlock in the game.
So I do get amusement out of the ads. I mean, there's no doubt that I've been getting amusement. But
yeah, Mr. Slots Era is my favorite. I think out of all the ads, I go, oh yes. Yeah.
Slots Era.
Yeah. It's comical. Like he's actually in a couple of other ads too, but he doesn't do that. He doesn't do that voice. He does a lighter voice.
Oh, okay.
So that's his like deep authoritative voice, and then he's got like a lighter. You can still tell it's him, but he's not doing the elongated endings on all of his words.
So something else I wanted to start tracking, and this is new for this week. I wanted to see what is the percentage of use of the tables and the frequency of the various challenges, et cetera, et cetera. So what's interesting is the game. Let's see if you can take a guess. What game appears in the most challenges? Like, has the greatest odds of appearing daily?
Oh, probably Party Zone.
No.
No.
No, not even close, actually.
Oh.
And this is only for me, too. So this is for me. I may be completely
next guess
different.
would be... My next guess would be Medieval Madness.
Not that one either.
Oh.
It is Attack from Mars. I've had it show up with a frequency of 71%.
Oh, wow. Oh, that was going to be... It was either Medieval or Attack were the ones I was going to say. I do get them a lot as well.
Getaway is my second highest at 50%.
Oh.
Followed by... excuse me, that's not my... that's 50%. Fishtails is 57%. Interestingly, though, Fishtails is only appearing currently in my Pro and Premium challenges. It didn't appear at all in my Basic and Advanced challenges.
Interesting.
Theater of Magic showed up 43%. Safecracker 29%. Champion Pub 14%. Medieval Madness 36%. Junkyard 36%. Black Rose 36%. And Party Zone 29%.
It's funny that I've heard some people deliberately not updating Safecracker so they don't have to play it. They hate it that much.
And that's what I need to understand. So they're not upgrading it at all. They're not even doing it to 1 star so that they can just not have it.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah,
because Safecracker in the Basic and Advanced challenge... Well, let's see. Hold on. Let me look at my information. Excuse me. I've had it in Basic Survival 3 times. And I didn't find Survival that terrible for Basic Challenge. But yeah, God.
Survival, it's tricky. You can do it on mobile in Basic, but it's like the 15 stars, you're sweating it to try. And it's just all about TNT multi-ball or Vault multi-ball.
Well, see, that's where I found... I think my least favorite mode is 5-minute. Because it's the least forgiving. You have to have a... Like, I was just doing 5-minute premium Attack from Mars, which... Talk about stupid numbers. You have to... For premium... the premium 5-minute, 15 stars is 4.62 billion. You essentially have to destroy 5 of the 6 saucers in order to do that, and you better get super jackpot in multi-ball also.
Right.
That one was... I was sweating bullets trying to get that. But doing survival challenge, which was 5.4 billion for Attack from Mars, I didn't sweat it that bad. And it's because I'm only battling that little chunk at a time, and the game can go on longer, which means I can unlock... Because Attack from Mars is definitely one of those tables where the longer you play, the better you can score. Yeah. Because everything is building and building and building.
Correct.
That, as opposed to, like I said, Safecracker doesn't work that way.
No.
What's the other one? That Party Zone doesn't really work that way.
You got to basically get multi-ball and then get 2-time multiply and keep that.
And that's it. I mean, if you don't get... And that's where all your scoring, though, is in multi-ball. Same thing now. Okay, so you clued me into the Junkyard thing.
Yeah, heck yeah.
And it was killing me because I was not getting Mamushka. So I was like, is there a way of making Mamushka pop up? Is there something that you're supposed to do that you can dictate what that random thing is? Nope, it's completely random. But then I found a new hack. So Mamushka grants you 100,000 points per switch hit, which obviously, like what Jared was saying, you just let it auto fire and drain and fire and drain, and boom, next thing you know, challenge will be done. But I wasn't getting that. But I looked up something. So in the lower right corner of the time machine, when it's scrolling through the dates, there's a time, military time, popping up. And when it says 3 minutes, 33 seconds, hit the flipper 3 times. That will start what's called a secret, I think it's called Secret Mania or whatever.
Oh, just like the gear stick up trick on the Getaway.
Right. and it's worth 30,000 points per switch. I did my 15-star premium challenge. I was only had 1 star completed when I started that. I basically put my phone down and walked away, and about 7 or 10 minutes later, it finally finished the challenge. And it barely finished. I mean, it literally finished it with only 15 seconds left on the on the survival bar, but it did it. And
so when it said 333, that's when you press both flipper buttons.
Yes, you do press. I think you're supposed to press both flipper buttons. But so that's one of those things. If you're having a hard time getting Mamushka at all, and you see that 333, because the 333 doesn't always pop up. Is it
going to be the last number in the?
It's going to be the last number that highlights. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, but there's another trick that you can use.
Another trick. I'll try
to
that
get
too.
past those survival and 5-minute challenges on Junkyard,
and also the tournament challenges. if you are on Android, yeah. Basically, if you know you're up against a good player, when you see their score, or you know you're up against a player who understands the hack, when you see their score going up rather fast, and you go, they just got Mamushka, I'm in trouble.
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to track was how often the challenges are cycling through.
Yeah.
And basically what I'm finding is, like for me, in basic challenge, survival came up 43% of the time, 5-minute came up 36% of the time, and 1 ball came up 21% of the time. And those percentages are virtually identical. Advanced survival again comes up 33% of the time, but this time 5-minute and 1 ball are switched, but it's 21 and 36%. So the percentages are actually fairly kind of locked in somewhat. But I only was sampling for 14 days, so we'll see what happens as this continues.
Still a fair amount of time. That's a
fair it's not like you're only getting one mode.
Yeah. That's a fair sample size. Like 14 days of continuous play is a good sample size. I would think that's valid data.
The only reason why I question it is because in the days since, so 3 days later, I had Fishtails, which again was never appearing in survival, in basic or advanced. All of a sudden, that's where I had it popping up. So, give it a month and see what those numbers are then, and that'll be a much better.
And separate the data week to week as well. I would think, because you might find they do a weekly cycle and they switch things up weekly, or like something like that, or fortnightly or something.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that much of a spreadsheet.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Compared to what you're doing now.
Okay, I wanted to talk about this too, because this is very relevant to our realm of speculation. Months ago, like 7 or so, I mentioned the fact that in the podcast here, it was what is Pinball Arcade going to be doing? What's the future of Pinball Arcade? And I said, if we don't see anything happening in 6 months' time, it's pretty much all but dead. I mean, let's face reality.
Yeah, that's right.
The only thing that we've heard at all, and it was just repeated in the latest Twitch stream by Farsight, was yes, they are working on a table. One. A single solitary table. Hardly the wonderful outpouring that people would expect from them. So over in the beta forum regarding the PC release, I guess, we were kind of joking about it, and I was, saying basically that TPA may not be dead, but there's certainly a priest on standby ready to read its last rites.
Yes.
And then Sven pointed out, he goes, well, maybe they're just, at least I think it's Sven, somebody pointed out that maybe they're just biding their time and waiting for the hype on the Williams pinball to die down. Then they'll jump back in. And I was just like, yeah, nobody wants to hear actors talk. We'll let this fad pass on, and then we'll go back to being the kings of silent film era. And then a few years later, oh crap, now there's color too. So
Yes.
you can't just sit back and relax and wait. And so then an individual from Farsight, who was not speaking officially on official terms, kind of poked his head in. And I posed the question. I said, "Hey, are we out of line for saying this stuff? Are we are we lacking patience? But seriously, why no Gottlieb tables? Why, there's plenty of EMs and SS solid state tables that people would want from Gottlieb. Why are we not having those? Why are we only solely waiting on
this
big licensed Stern stuff?"
Table. Yeah.
And the response was quite telling in that it said, if there were any tables left that weren't super expensive to license or lame, we'd probably be making them. Well, that's a pretty giant blanket statement about anything that is not modern Stern.
Yeah.
And then they kind of went on to say, we're Farsight Studios, not Pinball video game studios.
Well, folks, then what
TPA
games are you...
Yeah, TPA is dead.
Yeah.
let's just call it what it is.
And honestly, TPA and potentially Stern sounds like it's on its last legs as well. Like,
I mean,
I don't know what this magical table is.
But a single solitary table is not going to set the scales back.
The thing is that Elvira doesn't have long hair. She has a beehive. So it may actually not be Elvira.
But even still, he's saying that if they can't afford the expensive licenses and they don't want to do any lame tables.
What is this table going to be then? Like, if it's anything related to Stern, it's going to be expensive.
Right.
Which would explain why there's no Stern table action happening, because, well, licenses don't come cheap on those tables. And we were speculating that they incorporated any digital licensing into their licensing agreements, but that was pure speculation. So we don't know. Yeah. So,
like I said, I'm at this point, it's kind of like I'm not going to be in our podcast really updating, speculating, guessing anymore, because there's no point in it. I'm not going to keep a torch alive for something that the studio itself doesn't really want to have the torch lit for.
I mean, it sounds very clear that they don't care anymore. Like they are looking at other opportunities.
Yeah, they've moved on.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck with the new opportunities. Go and release more of the partyware that you love to release.
Well, and the statement said also, it said Zen is branching out themselves, but that doesn't mean it's completely abandoned.
Yeah, they're releasing Operencia,
which I've started playing this week, and believe me, it is not Orbals or whatever the heck that thing was.
No, and it's not Party Arcade.
Right. It's actually a well-crafted, non-buggy game.
So, with depth in it.
And at the same time, they're still cranking out top quality pinball.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Anyway, like I said, that's if the main studio can't be bothered to care, then why should we, the fans? So
there you go.
There you go.
Happy to be proven wrong.
Happy to be proven wrong, but
but
absolutely shocked if I am. I mean, if I had to put money down, I think I'd be collecting. So
yep, it would not be a roughy bet. It would be a sure thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, folks, we're going to pretty much call it there for this week. Hey, have you gone and bought a t-shirt? I know you haven't, because I checked the sales. Head over to redbubble.com and type in BlahCade, and you can find all the various designs we have. But hey, maybe you don't want a t-shirt. Maybe you just want to contribute to the podcast itself. You can do that too. We are on PayPal, and we do accept donations. If you head over to our website, BlahCadePinball.com/episodes, there is a little section that what does it specifically say? Donations or
support the show. It's actually in every single show note down the bottom.
You can click on that, and that'll give information on how, if you just feel like being generous and supporting the show, you can do that too. Do you have a question for us? You can always send it via email, BlahCade@gmail.com, or you can do what a lot of people do, which is contact us on Twitter You can do either the show, which is at BlahCade, or you can do Jared and myself individually. I am at Shut Your Traps. He is at Jared Morgs. And we'll respond and get back to you. We usually try to do that. You can even leave comments in YouTube. We try to get back to those also. Yeah. Okay, that's all the socials. Oh, one last thing to just because. Jared, were you familiar at all with Cowboy Bebop?
Slightly. Yeah, I haven't watched a lot of the anime.
So I am a huge fan of Cowboy Bebop. I watched when it was first came out on Cartoon Network or Adult Swim at the time. And within 2 episodes, I was on eBay buying the soundtracks because I thought they were fantastic. And so been hooked ever since. Well, Netflix is making a live action version of the show.
And it's not like the live action version of Sonic the Hedgehog.
Why would you want to watch a live action Sonic the Hedgehog? That's
I have no idea.
I don't either. So anyway, it's been kind of like, well, who's the cast? Who's the cast? Who's the cast? They just finally announced a chunk of the cast, and it's kind of had me go, huh? But I have a feeling that would have happened no matter what. But the one that everybody's kind of going, the main character is Spike Spiegel. They've cast John Cho as, who you would remember as Harold from Harold and Kumar, and also as he's also been in the most recent 3 Star Treks.
Right. Okay.
And you kind of, because in the cartoon or in the anime, Spike is very thin and tall and gangly, and that's not necessarily John Cho, who's significantly shorter than what this character would be. But I can hear his voice doing the line, so I'm not offended by that. But people were doing the immediately, how they were claiming certain movies were being whitewashed. And this one, they were calling it being yellow washed, where it was like, they just went straight out and hired an Asian actor just so the people wouldn't complain, even though Spike is Jewish. And I went, Spike is Jewish? And they're basing that purely because his last name is Spiegel. There's not a single religion doesn't even come up, or not only not doesn't religion, but nor does ethnicity, because by the way, Spike is from Mars. So it's not like he's from Israel or, or anything like that. So it's one of those faux outrages that I just kind of went, okay, whatever.
Good for you.
Yeah, the guy they cast as Jet Black is Mustafa Shakir, who the headshot that they posted of him looks pretty good for what Jet would look like. And again, people were like, oh, what? They had to cast a black actor because his last name is Jet Black. But if you watch the anime, Jet's not white. He's not black. He's just big and has mutton chops. So it doesn't really matter.
Because, it's an anime.
Yeah. And then they cast some gal by the name of Daniela Pineda for Faye. I know nothing about her, so it's going to be hard for me to determine if she'll make a good Faye or not. And then a guy by the name of Alex Hassel, who I have no clue who that is, and he's going to be the villain, which is why is his name escaping me? Anyway, he's the villain. They still have not cast Radical Edward because they can't find a girl with no bones. Because if you watch the anime, Ed has no bones. It's completely rubber.
Right.
Nor have they cast the dog yet. Vicious. That's the name of the villain. Vicious.
Right.
But anyway, just want to throw that out that it's shaping up. It's actually happening. We'll be getting 10 episodes. And all I can say is if they didn't at least reach out to Yoko Kanno, who did all the music, Yoko Kanno and the Seatbelts, if they don't at least reach out to her and see if she wants to do the show, then they're doing it terribly wrong. It's one thing if the person turns you down, but if they're not even approached, then that's to me larger than whoever they cast, because the music is 50% of the show. So
right.
Anyway, just wanted to drop that in there. I know. Hey, this is what I'm saving for the end of podcast now, folks.
All the things, it seems.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're gonna skedaddle, and we will talk to you all again next week, I believe.
Maybe.
Maybe. We'll find out. But hey, thanks for listening. We appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Nice.